Do, 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 do. All right, we'll see how this works. I'll throw out the socials. All right, we'll see how this works. I'll throw out the socials. All right, we'll see how this works. All right. Good for you to get your ears in. You get your ears in, dear? Okay, I don't hear you speaking. That's why I'm asking. See if you're check your box.
Sorry, got it now. Hey,
Fun, fun. All right, let's hit this. We don't got an intro. I haven't figured out how to do those yet.
fair, fair.
All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yay. Yep, you're seeing our second world stuffs, which I think is going to be our stuffs for a while. I'm telling you, it's been insane.
It has had a lot of things going on. It's been a year, 2025 was a year of transition,
Hmm.
and so we're starting into 2026, and I think everyone's kind of there with that, as it's
Year,
we're
this is
all.
a year of murder, I'm telling you.
It's definitely been stuff.
It
It's been
has.
all
It
the
has.
stuffs.
It's been all the stuff and some, which is great. You guys may hear a little bit of feedback, but then we'll kind of talk about what's going on, what we've been up to, where we're doing, what we're doing. But this has been your first season in Chimeras.
It's
It
definitely been stuff.
has. It
It's been
has.
all
It
the
has.
stuffs. It's
It's been
it's
all the
it's
stuff
going.
and
It's
some, which
going.
is great.
Getting some trophies, having some success there.
Uh-huh.
We're closing in the last 2 weeks of the season. Actually, I think it's a
Hmm.
little less than a week and a
Yeah.
half now.
Well, that's what
So,
standard fights, and then we take a week off, and then we do champions.
hmm we do.
We do, we
So
do.
yeah. Well, and I've been picking up some Blender. I think everyone's been seeing a little bit of that.
Hmm.
We've been sharing that out.
Did you show
Um,
them the gazebo you built me?
Well, I think they're seeing it now.
Yes.
No, there's been a few things that I've posted as I've been working through it, the Blender journey at least. So that's been fun.
Yes.
But yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
we, you know, exploring the things.
Huh? Including having an operational coffee pot on set. Of course we do. Why wouldn't we have an
That's great.
operational coffee set?
Super helpful.
Yeah.
Gotta have that.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So I've been trying to work out on streaming and getting the streams up so that we can return to doing some streaming at least once a month, whatever day
Oh, yeah.
Saturday is, which it may end up being one of the days of the last of the month, and it'll have to be left at that because some other things are in development. I'm not ready to talk about that, but we will
Mm-hmm.
be back to streaming in person
Mm-hmm.
very soon, at least once a month. We'll commit to once a month of a in-person stream. The rest of the time, you get to see our second live stream.
Yes. Get to see our little Second Life selves.
Yeah, especially
In the
since
world of Second Life.
yeah, you get to see the world of Second Life. There's nothing that I can't do in world that I can do not do in Second Life. Like I haven't found anything I can't do.
Very much.
Yeah.
Like it is all the things.
Hmm.
Okay, I find it funny that I've sat here for hours today,
Uh-huh.
and I've not seen the first email coming in, and then we sit down to do this, and it's like new email, new email, new email, new email.
Well, apparently your Thunderbird thundered out and got moving.
Yes, it finally thundered. It's
Yep.
thundering. It's
Very
doing
much.
all the thunders.
Yes. Tons of
Yeah,
thundering. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that was a fun transition. I think last year I had to make, or a year before even.
Yeah.
Jeez, how long is anyone keeping account? How long has Outlook been screwed?
It
Because it
feels
feels
like
like it's been a minute.
it
So,
has.
but yeah, no, it's been all the things. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Still running the two islands.
Yes, we are still running two islands. That's always fun.
Yeah.
Um, we built this one. What was it? This time last year?
No, this time last year
Yeah.
I just started Chimera's. I think it's tonight is
Okay.
my Chimera anniversary.
Aww, it's your cameo anniversary.
Yeah. Now
Aww.
it's turned into Insanity Chimeras. Because I'm running Chimeras, you're running Chimeras, we're running Chimera Island. You done your first breeding sessions last night.
Yes.
You're going to have
I
your own stones to put up for sale.
or throw at other people. Like, here, take it. Get it out of my inventory.
See,
Like,
that's
I
why
don't want
you
to become one of those people that it's like, dump the inventory. Oh, look, here's a stone I've had for 5 years.
see, that's why we immediately after they give birth, we either A, take and put them on our shelf for the next season, or B, they go downstairs in the stone store for sale.
Well, but then again, they may turn around and end up in the same place of someone else's inventory
Right.
of just like, oh yeah, here's the stone I bought like 5 years ago.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, some of the people in the whole Chimera thing, it cracks me up.
Okay.
Um, like they're walking around with like, oh yeah, I've got this fighter from like 5 years ago, and it's been sitting in my inventory dead. Hold on, let's revive it, and let's go fight with it, or let's go do this with that, or oh yeah, I've got stones, and then they just start shooting stones at you, and it's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
like you've not missed a breeding cycle, have you?
No.
Ever for any reason?
Well, it's like a friend of ours last night threw an animal at you. He
Yes.
birthed it out. She put it in a den. It didn't miss a point, but it had never been touched. Like it hadn't fought one battle. It hadn't done nothing. I'm like,
Oh,
Jeff, throw me Linden, because it's 660 Linden to get this one fully trained. Oh,
yeah.
let's not sit
Don't
on
sit on the
fish.
don't sit on the fish. Take the fish. So this is one of the activities in the Chimera thing that we're doing. You're watching our chimeras come up one by one. As they're catching fish, we take the fish, we process the fish, and then that gets alchemy ingredients.
Hmm.
So he runs a process with those to create different things from them. So you combine certain ingredients together and you get X. So everything from changing the color of the chimeras to a little bit like you can do all kinds of things.
Hmm.
Speed them up, slow them down, make them mate, give them more matings.
Yep. Give them more matings. Turn them in. You can put them together. Well, no, it's not a potion, a fusion potion that can put them together. A fusion, but we can't make that. That's a consumable we buy. But no, like age them, unage them, give them points, give them health, color them all different colors, give them boost to mining.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
To get all kinds of boosties.
It does. Yeah. So yeah, we run Aeson's Apothecary along with Ravencroft, along with Fire Island, along with 501. Of course, you can always book a reading with me in Second Life. I have a lovely office for readings.
Mm-hmm. Just please be careful if that's not what you want to do. Don't click that one. Because this is where you would be, and so if you don't have the computer capable, if you don't have Second Life installed, if you've never been in Second Life, please, dear Lord, don't book a virtual reading.
Right.
We've done our best to explain that. You've still had a few clients that hit that one by mistake, and it's it's a moment having to explain that one of like, what did I do?
No, yeah, because this is a whole virtual world. Surprisingly owned by Meta. It's a Meta company now.
It is. It was hilarious, and we've talked about that in like some of our prior shows. That
Right.
Meta popped up, and they were going to create the metaverse, and they're like, "We're going to do it in a year." And then they explained what they wanted the metaverse to be, and everyone in Second Life took a collective moment to go, isn't that Second Life?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to create Second Life in a year.
Hmm.
That's ambitious. Especially for everything they said Second Life was going to be, because, quite frankly, those were the promises all the way back to the beginning of Second Life that we were going to be in virtual headsets and, or VR headsets, and we were just going to live, work, play, do everything on Second Life. And who needs the outside world? And they spent many years trying to make
Hmm.
that happen.
Right.
And ultimately, it's still not there.
No,
So
not
so
yet.
when he said, yeah, we're totally gonna rock this in a year, it was like, better have tried and failed.
Right.
Because even now we're just getting to the point that like VR headsets are feasible for Second Life.
Right.
And when I say that, a lot of the people that have gone that route are just like, yeah, this is like we're not doing a VR headset.
Well,
And it has more. It has a lot to do really with what you're truly asking for out of a VR headset,
hmm
and the requirements of a system to run that. So we're just now moving into the era in which it is reasonable to have the equipment to run the headset.
right.
Cool. The problem has now turned into, which it's not like it wasn't, an existing problem. It's just now it's become the problem. Is the headsets really can't do it?
No, they can't handle
Because
this.
the displays within the headsets
hmm
still struggle to have the capacity
hmm
um to be immersive, because you're basically taking a very tiny screen, two of them in fact, and you're doing a stereoscopic, so double presentation, slightly offset, on those tiny little screens that are now sitting, an inch or less in front of your eye. I, no, you're not immersed. You're sitting here going, I see every frickin' pixel.
Right.
Like, this does not feel immersive. And that's, I mean, that's just one of many malfunctions in this. Um, because then you move into the issues of virtual reality,
hmm
in which we have graphically demonstrated for decades now, this very beautiful integrating digital world.
Right.
mm, mm.
mm
You think physics engines are hard? Try creating a scaled immersive experience.
hmm
Because, one, you think you want that. No, you don't. You don't. As a favorite comedian of mine has a tendency to say, no, you don't.
See, I think
You really
eventually,
don't.
I think eventually we'll get to where we have VR suits, not just headsets, the full suit, where you just suit up.
That
You
full
can,
upload experience, yeah.
yes, probably 20 years from now.
I think as a sci-fi fantasy, as a sci-fi convention, I think virtual reality and VR suits and all of that is a gorgeous idea.
Mhm.
I think we're going to find that even when we arrive there and we can do it without any problems and it's all great and wonderful and yada yada yada,
Right.
I think we're going to quickly reject it.
Oh, I don't think so. I think there will be a
I
lot of gamers that want to jump into it.
I think it'll be a fun toy.
hmm
I really do, and I think that it'll very quickly, because we saw the same thing happen, if y'all remember, when IMAX came out.
hmm
Everyone wanted to see the IMAX movie. Oh, in 3D, yay, cool. And that quickly spurred the idea of home 3D.
Right.
And so there was a period, a very brief one, they were selling 3D television sets like hotcakes.
Right.
And I think that lasted like a year. And it was not, one, it was not an IMAX experience.
Right.
Two, and probably more importantly, um, we suddenly realized we did not want that at home. It
Well,
was it was not a good home concept.
right.
Mostly because it requires a lot. Like
hmm
there was a lack of appreciation for everything that goes into an IMAX movie.
Right.
And creating an IMAX experience and creating that in a fixed space and setting all that up, and those variables are kind of locked in. Okay,
Right.
one, kind of hard to get content providers on board with providing that to the home.
Right.
So you're having to mimic it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that didn't go so great. Um, and then the realities of like limited viewing angles, and you
Hmm.
have to get your setup right. And once you do it,
Right.
you can't move that television, you can't move that couch, you can't walk around the room. You
See, and
you
that's
have to
where
sit
home
in a
theater comes in.
fixed. Yeah, you have to set up an actual home theater for this experience. You're
Right.
not going to be laying in bed just kind of having your 3D experience. You're not just going to be cooking breakfast and having your 3D experience. It doesn't work like that. So even though we were capable of delivering it, and
Right.
it does technically work, it quickly became a thing that, like, this is cool. I don't know if it was worth the money, but this is cool.
Right.
But it's not. It quote unquote isn't what we expected. And so in that it isn't what we expected, and the requirements that had
Right.
to like you're much like going to a movie theater to see an IMAX. You're
Hmm.
locked in. You got to lock in on this home theater. You got to lock in on where the television's going to be. You got to lock in on you're watching a movie.
Right.
And you can't move. I think we're going to see a fair amount of that with the VR experience. Is
Right.
that even if we, go ahead and make it even more immersive than the headset, and we do the bodysuits and the walking pads and all that, I think we're going to struggle with the realities of it. Of putting this in your home. That if you go out to a cool place, so to speak, like if you set up a VR den,
Hmm.
a virtual reality station,
Right.
and you have this capacity to go have the experience like your IMAX movies.
Right.
I think people will get behind that and they'll pay good money to go have a fun time.
Hmm.
When you actually go to release this to the home and make this experience, a home-based one, I think people are going to reject it. I think it's going to be one of those. Well, that's cool.
Right.
And much like the way of the 3D televisions, manufacturers suddenly have a glut of inventory they can't get rid of, and they quickly catch on to the fact that consumers do not want this. And that as these televisions died, they weren't getting replaced with 3D sets.
True, but
Like the
also,
market,
right.
like the market chilled, and then it went frozen. Like nope, had the experience, didn't it wasn't worth it.
Well, I also
Um,
think, however, it was more so they stopped producing products for it.
yeah, because there was no market. Again, consumers bought the sets. They watched the content. They weren't happy with it.
Hmm.
It didn't. It wasn't what they expected. It wasn't
Hmm.
really. I mean, it's kind of that. It's what I wanted, but I don't think I knew what I wanted, or I
Right.
didn't understand what I wanted. And so now you have this very fixed, locked, don't move experience of television, of movies, of, like, because you have a very limited viewing angle, none of your stuff can move, or the experience goes to crap.
Right.
And there were some other issues there as well.
Right.
Because the way they were doing it was red blue color shift, and you needed special glasses. So even if you didn't normally wear glasses, you now had to put on glasses
Right.
to have this experience. And that's where I think that even though we're seeing some VR, like the Oculus headsets, are becoming a thing, it's still it's a very version of it.
Right.
That for advertising purposes, we can take those images and make the experience look great.
Hmm.
The reality is, it isn't. It just can't be. And when we finally get the technology there, I
Right.
don't think we're going to want it. Again, outside of a non home experience.
Right.
And I think that becomes the key to the whole thing is stop trying to make these home experiences.
Right.
Stop trying to make 3D movies into a home experience. Stop
Right.
trying to make virtual reality into a home experience. I think there's many great and wonderful applications of VR environments. And I think much like going to a mystery room or to a, the, I forget what it's called. Someone was bringing up, there's now one in my hometown. But it's basically a gaming den.
Hmm.
Um, and it's like, this is all cool. Like, they host tournaments and all that.
Right.
And again, I think as a out of the home experience that you go and you pay for and you opt into and it's preset, you don't have to do anything with it, you don't have to manage anything with it. You just go have the experience.
Right.
I think it'll be very commercially successful. I think the minute we try to bridge it into the home again, it's gonna go 3D television
Right.
where everyone wanted it, and then the people that got it were like, eh, I don't want this.
Right.
And that's ultimately where 3D television went, was, I don't really want this.
Yeah,
Like,
I can
I would
understand
rather
that.
just go see an IMAX.
Right. Well, for the moment, I think the technology needed to improve, but I think they abandoned it too quickly.
Well, yeah, well, one, it wasn't really commercially viable.
Right.
And so I think with 3D television, it got pushed faster than it should have been.
Right.
But even still, I think if you go back and you perfect it and you re-release it for a home experience, I don't think people actually want this.
Right.
I think we want it. I think we've been sold it in sci-fi for decades
Right.
about how great a VR experience is going to be.
Right.
But is it though?
I
Do
don't
you
know.
really want to like go buy the $7,000 computer? Do you want to go buy the headset? Do you want to sit there and dedicate a portion of your house to this immersive VR experience? And you kind of see this in some of the more recent movies that have
Hmm.
broached the VR topic. And granted, some of those are really throwing in the pitfalls of VR,
Right.
but like you start to see like what would this actual reality of VR look like in a home,
Hmm.
and like chastise it all you want for destroying families and couples and creating this escapism and all that all you want to. Granted, I thought what was it, Blade Runner did a great job of that. And that was before we had viable VR. But hey, but no, what you actually see in terms of, and Upload has done a great job of that as well, starting to talk
Right.
into like the realities of that suit.
Yeah, but
That
see, that's a lot of Hollywooding of it. Personally, I think that would be fine. I think it would be great for with people with disabilities. Um, First off, I mean,
Well, yeah, and I think a lot of the VR experience, I think a lot of the gaming experience, especially in 3D worlds,
hmm.
is great for that.
Right.
And it's a great opportunity generator. I'm not debating that. I'm totally
Right.
down with virtual worlds. The virtual reality aspect, though. And again, if you are, if you're in an iron lung, I don't think you're going to object. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if you're stuck in an iron lung, you are never gonna functionally move again. I think you would be cool with it. You know what I mean? It's one
Right.
more apparatus in your home.
Right.
And hopefully it bolts on to the iron lung. Um, but otherwise, I think that it's going to be a challenging experience. But in that case, if you are, say, for instance, a quadriplegic, I think the VR experience is going to be great for you, and you will have a wonderful experience. But let's talk about immersives for a second because that's not really gonna be the thing.
See, I
It's
think
not
it
gonna be
would
a
be.
normal. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
because you're not gonna have the tactile sensation. Like the suit is useless.
Well, currently, in base technology, it's useless. We're not looking at this like 10, 15 years out when the suit, they figure out that everything is an electrode. The sensation is not vibration, it's electrode, and it's a frequency. And boom, there you go. We've got the hologram. And as far as like room space, please, I know people that have a room completely dedicated to football, to the motorcycle stuff, to whatever. I don't think that's going to be a problem.
I just think it's going to be it's for your average. Well, because and again, go harkening back to 3D television,
Hmm.
most of the original consumers were
Hmm.
people that had more than enough house space for this
Right.
equipment and could very easily dedicate a home theater and could very easily make the choice.
Hmm.
And the money was no object. It wasn't a problem. They could pay for professional installation. They could get it fine tuned and set up.
Hmm.
And it's not that I'm saying that it's ungodly, unwieldy, equipment.
Right.
I'm just saying that at some point, it's like this isn't really the VR I thought it was gonna be.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not that it's unwieldy.
Right.
I just think it's going to end up being this isn't really what I wanted.
Right.
Like I wanted the fantasy of VR.
Right. But I think we're really early stages of that technology. And, right now the computer to run it is $7,000. Um, maybe you know, standard computers went from $10,000 down to like, I don't know. I think Walmart specials are around 199 right now,
Mm-hmm.
and those do much more than what our computers that were, $3,000 and $6,000 will do.
Well, yes, but what my whole point being is, I think even though you get the price point down, even though you get it to the greatest stage of evolution, I really think that we oversold the fantasy
Hmm.
of VR.
Right.
Like we super and way before it was viable,
Right.
even remotely. Like we've been teasing VR for decades. Ready Player One, or not Ready Player One, Tron, is what I'm trying to say. um like, and then even in the late 80s, early 90s, we were floating the Virtual Boy, if anyone remembers those. And it just, hmm, it's not that it doesn't do the thing, it's just it's I mean, now if we go another route and we bypass the suits, we bypass the headsets,
Right.
and I think a scary tech. But if we do an implantable that ties into the optic nerve and ties into the nervous system in general,
Hmm.
then
You mean like
you
Musk
might
has
see
already
commercial
talked about?
viability.
Yeah. Like Musk has already talked about this in technology.
Yeah, but it also brings in the that but you also knew that the first like generation of that is gonna suck.
Yep.
And it's gonna suck badly. I do not know who wants to be the guinea pig for that. Like you are gonna have to pay someone
Oh, right.
a lot of money to be a guinea pig for that because I don't know how you sell. We're gonna implant a first generation device
Right.
and attach it to your optic nerve and your nervous system for biofeedback
Right.
and to create effectively a hallucination. I don't know how you sell that to someone or you know what I mean as a
Right.
product they want to pay you for.
Well, I don't
Um,
know how many people will do LSD. I mean, the government sold it for a while.
well, but again, that's an experience that ends.
Uh-huh.
That implant, especially like the first ones that are going to come to market,
Mm-hmm.
that implant, you're not going to be able to get rid of it. As in, they can remove it, but it's going invariably. It is going to leave a mark. It's going to leave a
Right.
scar. It's going to leave damage. And you may, as a first gen,
Right.
um, never be able to upgrade it, never be able to go to like Gen 3 or whatever, where it actually became useful and works right and doesn't blow up your brain or because there's going to be a fine tuning and adjustment period.
Right.
I don't think you're going to, and again, it's long term permanent life commitment.
Right.
This is not go do LSD and like, oh, that was fun, and participate in a research study. This is going to be severely modify your body with a lot of risks.
Yeah. Again, I think it's debatable. I mean, if you had asked her, and you see this in like our grandparents and great grandparents, they wanted nothing to do with cell phones. Now, I don't think you can pry one out of my mother's hands. Um, you know, so
Well, at the
it's
rate in which she has broken them, yes, you can.
Yeah, but she's on it all the time. She's on Facebook all the time. I think it comes into viability. I think it comes into technology advancing. Like I see a lot of options for it.
hmm
Hmm.
Well, and again, that's kind of having to separate out two different concepts of VR.
Right.
If you're talking about it as a commercial tool, oh yeah,
Hmm.
super VR, absolutely, 100%. I think the limitations of it are far outweighed by the benefits.
Right.
So if you're talking about data modeling or being able to you know take a design
Hmm.
and literally physically move in the space you're creating,
Right.
and understand how it's going to work, and then alter that space or alter your experience of the space so that like you're a wheelchair user or you use a walker and you can apply limitations to yourself to see how that space works for someone else.
Hmm.
Great viabilities. And again, you have to overlook its shortcomings and its pitfalls.
Hmm.
Because yeah, it's imperfect, but it gives you an idea of
Right.
what the result will be. But when you're trying to, offer this up as an entertainment experience,
Hmm.
not a tool, hmm, that's going to be a minute.
Yeah, I think it'll be a growth minute, but it'll be a minute. Uh,
And
but
fundamentally, I'm still talking about, like that first gen, like that
right.
first. We're trying to get to market. Can we prove this isn't going to kill humans? Implant. Yeah, no, I don't think anyone's going to want to be that guinea pig.
Oh, I think there's going to be many people lining up to figure it out because you know those, and you see this in every beta test. You know, Firestorm just launched a new viewer, a new update viewer. I like the moment it launched another beta program. The number of people that hopped on that beta faster than they did to download the update is insane.
Which, and again, that's a like you can opt out. Like,
Right.
hey, this isn't working for me.
Hmm.
Click. We're gonna go back out of the beta. And like, thank you. That was pretty. That was nice. Doesn't effing work for my life. Sayonara. And that's my really where I'm at with this idea of implantables is that the level that we're talking about of interface with the
Hmm.
human body. I think you're really going to struggle to find people that are going to volunteer and be like, yeah, sure, I'll do that for $50. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have a trouble if you properly explain the risks.
Hmm.
Because again, Gen 1 device, we don't know what the hell we're doing. We are on the, bleeding edge of cutting edge. So we don't know what this is going to look like. I think you're going to really struggle to sell the concept to people that, oh yeah, 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 yeah. I think that's if we get to that point, if we arrive at that idea,
Hmm.
I think it's going to be a struggle. Now, now if we talk about things like contact lenses with displays built in, yeah,
Right.
sure, you can find volunteers for $50. That's no problem.
Please,
If we're
Google's already
talking
selling them.
right, but it's not a problem because again, if it doesn't work for you, take the contact lenses out. Don't put
Right.
them back.
And again, and that's why I say that we will probably see a suit first. We will probably see a glove set first. We will probably see contact lenses first. And like the VR that we're looking at, and what is that? Whatever the Facebook one was, that some of our friends always have on. Um, I think once they get to the tactile, like I can feel this cup of coffee in my hand because I'm wearing the glove that holds it, and then it has, that I think that's where that starts taking off. Does it get to the eventual where, it's a sit down and snap, you're in the world? Yeah, I think it does. But for now, I think that, we've got to go through the stages.
Well, and that is what's definitely going to happen. I'm just saying the that's going to be your best experience though
Right.
of VR is if we get to the point of implantations
Hmm.
of you're going to have an implant that has electrodes that go out into to your nerves
Right.
and interfaces and
Right.
basically creates a physical optical hallucination.
Right.
Um, I also think it's going to be a struggle of finding out the difference between the implant and schizophrenia because I think there's going to be a bunch of people that can't handle it.
Right.
I think it's going to be a real struggle for them to have this completely immersive experience that you honestly feel like you are a part of.
Right.
And the Gen 1 is gonna suck. Like, and we kind of see that with most Gen 1 products, is like,
Right.
it's gonna have bugs. But then also with, things like the suits and contacts and headsets, there's going to be serious concerns over, especially as an entertainment experience. When you're talking about an employee that does this 8 hours, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, that's one experience of using a technology.
Right.
And you're talking about someone using this because most of our gamer friends, quite
Hmm.
frankly, and we're almost no exception.
Oh, we're not an
Um,
exception.
if you're talking about being in world, 12, 18. whatever hours a day, and you're not clocking out for lunch breaks, and you're, doing the full experience,
Right.
it's going to be rampant with self physical abuse
Right.
of staying in the suit longer than is recommended, and then you get into proper suit care and maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have issues with the headset. It is, and much like the issues we're currently seeing, and I'm not saying the same issues, I'm just saying similar issues that we've seen with streamers and
Right.
the microphone headsets creating a divot in their head. It
Hey,
is
don't
a
watch
skull
those
deep.
divots.
Do what now?
It isn't just gamers. I mean, somebody else has a divot in his skull.
Fair enough. Anyone who wears a headset for extended periods can have this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a reality of, so to speak, an occupational hazard of being a gamer, of being someone who works on the phone, of being someone like, and we've seen this across multiple industries and stuff, over many years, like we're like since occupations began.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Life comes with side effects.
Right.
You choose to sit at a desk for as a profession, you're gonna have issues. You
Mm-hmm.
know, vitamin D deficiencies, and like it's a list. These are occupational concerns. These are hazards of your
Right.
profession. They may not be, horrific, and it's not like you go into a mine and one of your occupational hazards is you could die,
Mm-hmm.
methane, collapse. Like there's a whole list of massive, deadly potentialities. Okay,
Yep.
it's a lot calmer if you work from home at a desk, or you work in an office at a desk.
Mm-hmm.
But they still exist.
Yeah. I think you're out of bait.
Oh, did I? Yes, that was my last one. All right, so let me reload real quick. And so yeah, but no, I,
Uh-oh. You got a heart going on. And you got a heart
uh,
going on. Yeah, I think we got some mating to do on those two when she's done.
well, there you go. Um, but yeah, no, I think a lot of this is going to end up being interesting, at least long term, as to where we go with it. I'm not even sure we're going to get there in our lifetimes. I
Yeah,
really don't. I think we all thought this was going to, like, as a general global consensus, I think we thought this was going to be a lot easier to create a virtual reality immersive experience and make it a commercially viable entertainment product. I truly believe we thought this was going to be easier.
right.
We put a man on the moon, we split the atom. How hard can virtual reality be? We're 40 some years in. We're
Right.
more than that. We're 50, 60, 70 years in, I think, of talking about VR. Um, we're nowhere near this being a literal, like, fully immersive, viable product.
Right.
That it completely mimics VR, or completely mimics reality,
Hmm.
which is fundamentally what we've been sold as a fantasy idea, as a sci-fi fantasy.
Hmm.
Um, Now, do I think it has applications? Do I think that it has usefulnesses? Do I think it could be a fun entertainment experience? Absolutely.
Yep.
But you're going to have to scale your expectations tremendously from what we have created in books and movies
Right.
and sold as virtual reality for so long.
Yep.
um yeah, I think that part takes a lot
Right.
to explicitly get people behind the idea of one, this isn't going to be everything we told you it was going to be in a bag of chips. Two, there's going to be some things like some serious considerations, like because we will not know for probably a few more years. What are the visual effects of like an Oculus headset?
Oh, I think it's going to be a little while before we see that.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
again, all of this stuff is going to have a long term cumulative,
it is.
especially when you're talking about gamers, especially if you're talking about someone who is going to wear this way more than they should. Like, because I'm sure those come with recommendations that you don't do this for more than X hours a day,
Right,
for legal reasons. And then you have people that never read that insert, didn't care if they did,
right,
and continue to use the product however they want to use it.
right,
Um, and so, okay, what does that look like when you are focused on a screen that is like an inch, inch and a quarter, inch and a half, in front of your eyes, showing two different images for hours upon hours upon hours upon hours a day?
right,
What's the long-term effect of that? Like, what are you going to do to your vision? Then you're going to have, like the suit, um, and the potentialities of everything that's going to create.
right.
Of, what does this look like when you're expecting, Joe Schmo to have this very, elaborate piece of equipment sewn into what is effectively a wetsuit, if we kind of go that upload model of this network of cabling and electrodes and
See, I think
sensors.
it's going to be
Yes.
much more Bluetooth based.
I'm sorry, what?
I think it's going to be more wireless based.
It doesn't matter if it's wireless. You
Hmm.
still have, you're gonna, as a suit, have to
Hmm.
put the suit on.
Right,
And all of those things within the suit are going to be connected. Now, if you put a packet on the back of it with a battery and a Bluetooth, that's great for you. That still doesn't change the fact you're wearing the suit. Okay, it is again going to have a nice little legal insert that says you should only wear this for X hours at a time, blah, blah, blah. Make sure to take frequent breaks. Here's how you clean it. Here's how you wash it. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do that.
right,
And you're going to expect Joe Schmo to do all these things because you put it in an insert, so don't sue us, how
right,
to properly care and maintenance the suit. Okay, they're going to be like, I'm going to do whatever I want. Because this is, again, what happens when you produce a consumer home product is they're going to do whatever they want to with it.
right,
It's my home, my castle. I do whatever I want. You can tell me this is how I'm supposed to use this product, and not going to happen.
right.
And we have to accept a certain level of that. But then, what is that going to look like? What in terms of skin conditions, in terms of like fires and nerve damage, and I mean, are we going to have a generation that is a multiple amputee? Why? You wore your suit too long and you didn't clean it properly.
I don't know. Like those are all things they'll have to address.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, there's an ugly side to a fully immersive VR experience that we've glossed over, in sci-fi, and we've sold it as this is going to be this great and wonderful thing. And I really appreciate like Upload as a television show, um, dug into some of this and like we're going to talk about it.
Hmm.
We're going to point out that like, yeah, if you wear that suit for like 18, 24, whatever hours a day, you're probably going to end up with a yeast infection. Like, you're gonna have issues. You're gonna have skin conditions here. Like, hello. What did you think was gonna happen when you wrapped yourself in a wetsuit for that long? It's not meant to be worn that long. You've now introduced a change in environment and how we live. And again, not to necessarily hit the great big red panic button and, oh, it's the
Right.
devil. Not where I'm at. I'm just saying these are issues we do have to contend with, and issues that have to be worked out long term or pre thought of, in terms of designing the product to reduce the opportunities that this is going to have a widespread, massive effect, that will negatively impact. I just find it interesting that it's kind of now's the moment
Hmm.
compared to like the 90s when we were all scared to death of kids playing violent video games and, oh, we're going to turn them all into psychopaths. And it's like, no, that's not exactly how that works.
Right.
Now, I'm sure there were people that already had violent impulses that the games didn't help.
Right.
That's going to always be true. I think we're going to see some of that also occur, when you start suiting up and VRing people that have an impulse, that is already a problem.
Right.
When you introduce them to this environment where they can go act out all their fantasies and they can become emboldened.
Hmm.
I think that's going to be like there is a small percentage of the population that's going to occur to. Um,
See, I disagree with that, and here's why I disagree with it in general. Like, we're gonna have to wrap up here soon because battle's open in about 20 minutes. Well, the boards are opening because I got to notice the spot.
yes.
Just because I fight, Cheetos doesn't make me want to go and do a dog fight.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, that was my whole point of there is a small percentage of the population that experiencing their violent fantasies is gonna be emboldened to go do the violent.
Right.
Again, very small portion. The vast majority are not gonna have an issue. They understand the difference between fantasy and reality. They understand the difference between, this is harmless fun.
Right.
It's not that like it is not the big alarm, panic inducing, hit the big red button and turn it all off deal
Right.
that you think it is. Take care of the people who don't know what that this is bad for. Leave everyone else alone. But what I find interesting is that we had some of the most out there conversations like in the 90s
Hmm.
about what were the long-term mental effects of violent video
Hmm.
gameplay, what were the long-term, and so we got really into deep into that conversation and a lot of hot opinions on it.
Right.
But then it seems like now it's just like, okay, here's your Oculus headset, and like I'm just grateful for the peace and quiet.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like there's no
Right.
real conversation occurring. And it's like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Hold the phone. You
Right.
physically attach something to someone's head to wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. This is where I think we need to have a concerned, not a freak out, but a concerned conversation. Okay, what's this going to look like if this person does this for many many hours a day
Hmm.
over the course of years?
Right.
Do we have like because we don't have data on that yet?
Right.
We don't know what that's going to do to people. And I don't necessarily mean that we're going to create a whole generation of violent serial killers, but are we potentially creating a generation that may have visual deficits that need correction? Or that long term are going to mean that they can no longer use these headsets.
Right. Well, you've got two fish down.
Mm, okay. Sorry, I got very like on
I
the
know. I got you going.
yes.
Yes.
Alrighty, so we need to wrap up,
Yeah,
and
we got two fish. So, do you want to do coffee chat like once a week, virtual? Like we just come fish and you got it and talk?
yeah, I think next time we need to put out some coffee though. Maybe we can go
Well,
enjoy the new psychic coffee shop, which I hate that we finally get a Second Life show with audio and everything.
uh-huh.
And where are we? Not at the coffee shop.
Well, and we can go to the coffee shop. We just can't fish at the coffee shop.
We can't fish at the coffee shop. I know, I know, I know.
Yeah, but we
Gotta
can go
gotta
and
talk
show
to.
things off. Like this was, let me see if this works. Do
Mhm.
I finally have the settings correct? We will be streaming Elder Battles later, tonight. That will probably be, it's SLT 11:30, which means it's like 2:30 USA, 2:30 Eastern time. But we can definitely stream those.
Absolutely.
Because it looks like we finally have the stream right, other than, the intro and the outro music.
Yeah, we'll have to do
Yeah.
some things, and that's an experience, but we'll
Yeah.
get there.
hmm But
So
yay,
yeah,
we're back to
new chapter.
virtual streaming. And then the last week of the month, one of the days, the reason I'm saying one of the days you're going to get short notice, is because something is developing. Um, you'll get a stream for, um, we're just going to call it the Sega Coffee Shop. We're going to sit down and look at the next month's astrology. We're going to sit and look at like where everything is at with that. Um, and pull tarot for the next month and do some free readings, but that'll depend on my schedule.
Oh, speaking of and talking about cool things in virtual,
Uh
did
huh.
you buy the tarot deck?
I haven't yet. We need to go buy that.
Oh my god, because there is a really cool one that he can do absolutely like out of pocket readings with, and it is
Right.
so cool.
And we can do those when we have coffee.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
All right, so yeah, we got to pick those up for you, and then yeah.
Yeah. And you got to build a set for us over at the coffee shop because we don't have where it's two chairs. Like the two chairs we have are facing each other. That won't film well.
Well, but we like have the couch, and we have like we can
hmm
do all kinds of stuff over there. I think you're
Right.
underselling that.
All right. Well, we'll see how it works out. Until then, you can reach me over at keen.com. You can reach me in Second Life, or you can just visit aceandnight.com.
Absolutely.
And, yep. So, with that, y'all, I don't have an outro screen. So,
Even, that's all, folks.